Now, some years ago, I saw a clip on YouTube which had an illustration on it that just stuck with me forever, and it had such an impact on me. I've never been able to forget it. The guy just had a big long rope that went out the door, and on the end of the rope he had just a little bit of red tape. And he said, just imagine that the rope is a picture of eternity. It goes on and on forever, never ever stopping. And it's hard to picture eternity in our minds. It's pretty hard to imagine it. And so that idea sort of stuck with me, the idea that eternity goes on and on and on and on and never ceases. And he said, Jesus speaks about two places in which people can spend eternity. And one place is hell, where there is torment and God's anger. And the other place is with Jesus, where there is his rich blessing. And once you're there, there's no turning back. Once you're there forever, whichever outcome. And that stuck with me. I mean, I just never ever forgot where you end up is where you are forever. And he said the little bit of red tape on the end of the rope is our life here in this world. And he said it's so short and so fleeting, and yet what we do with Jesus in this world here determines what happens for eternity. And if we follow Jesus as our King in this world, then we are with him for eternity, forever. If we ignore Jesus in this world, then we will be in hell, where his anger will pour out on us forever. Anyway, as I said, it struck me, and it was such a powerful illustration that I don't think I've ever forgotten it. And sometime later, when I was reading Mark's Gospel, I read something that Jesus said that made me think of that illustration. And it came from Mark chapter 8. And Jesus is speaking, and this is what he says. He says, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me." So he's saying follow him. It's not necessarily going to be easy. Taking up your cross and following him, it's a picture of heartache and hardship. So becoming a follower of Jesus may well be a very difficult thing. It might mean you have to give up certain things. It might mean certain people no longer talk to you. It might mean you lose out on things in this world. So he's saying that's real. That could be what happens. But he says, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it." And you see, I think he's talking about this little bit here. He's saying you can live in this world as if that little bit is all that matters, and having the money to spend on the fast car, or having the superannuation for when you retire, or you can win, as it were, if you have all those things, and the big family and the whatever. You can win all of those things, but if you don't belong to Jesus, then it doesn't matter, because you've lost into eternity. And likewise, then you cannot have any of those things in this lifetime, and you can lose them all, and maybe even give them all up. But if you belong to Jesus, then you win. And he goes on. Let me continue reading. He says, "For what good is it to gain the whole world, yet forfeit your soul?" You see, you're a creature made to exist into eternity. You have a soul. What good is it that you gain everything there is to gain in this world, and yet you lose eternity forever in hell? He says, or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? What would you give in exchange for eternity in hell? And here's the crunch. He says, if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man, which is his name for himself, I will be ashamed of them when I come in my Father's glory with the holy angels. Jesus is saying there's a day when he'll return to judge the living and the dead. And the only question he'll ask is, what did you do with me in this time here on earth? Did you ignore me? Were you ashamed of me? Then that is such a serious thing that the consequence is eternity in hell. And he says, did you follow me as your king? Did you trust me as your Lord and your Saviour in this time here? Then come and be with me forever, where there is rich blessing forever and ever and ever. They're the two eternities. Now, you might be listening to all this and say, I thought you've said in the previous videos that I'd like Jesus if I met him, and yet that sounds like such a horrible thing to say. Well, I actually don't think it is a horrible thing if it's true. Old car salesmen and new car salesmen, but old car salesmen have a bit of a bad rap in Australia, and that no one trusts them. As they, it's like a used car salesman. That's it, a used car salesman. You can't trust what they say. You don't know whether they're ever telling you the truth, and they make things sound. They make the car sound so rosy. What you want is someone who'll actually just tell you the truth. Tell me as it is. Don't sugarcoat it. We don't want a doctor to do that either. Tell me what I've got. Have I got cancer? How long have I got? Don't sugarcoat it. But what you find with Jesus is whenever he speaks, he's telling you the truth. He'll tell you the truth. He'll tell you it as it is. And he says it's really serious. The way in which you deal with me in this world, what you do with me in this world, echoes for eternity. If you ignore me in this world, that'll be hell for eternity. If you follow me as your king in this world, you'll be with me into eternity. That's why I actually think you'll like him. Because you can trust what he says, and you know that he's telling you the truth. Can I urge you, do read his story, won't you? In Mark's Gospel, or Matthew, or John, or Luke. I think you will like him, and I certainly know that you can trust what he says.